Hi everyone, my name is Emmanuel. I'm the Developer Relations Engineer here at Aventus Network, and I'm here joined with my colleague Kam. And today I'm going to talk to you about the Aventus Network and walk you through a few slides that really go in depth into what the architecture is like and how the blockchain works. So firstly, Aventus was conceived in 2015, initially as a ticketing solution. And since then, we've taken advances towards becoming a layer 2 scaling solution because we saw the need in the market for a layer 2 scaling solution and trying to be scalable and provide that scalability to people who wanted to build on platforms like Ethereum. So in 2017, we had our token sale for which we got 60,000 ETH in just a matter of seconds. Since then, we launched the Aventus Classic, and that really took us forward to being able to provide infrastructure for clients that wanted to work in the loyalty space and also in the ticketing space as well. So in 2021, we launched our mainnet, and that was in February 2021. We launched our mainnet, and it's been transactions since then. We have over 8 million transactions now on the Aventus mainnet. So we kind of highlight 4 things here. We have on the scalability part, we can do 2,000 transactions per second. This has a transaction throughput of 0.13 seconds for transaction completion. We have a stable price of 1 cent of the US dollar, which is far cheaper and it's very predictable across transactions. We are very interoperable, so we are interoperable with Ethereum and also with working towards being that with Polkadot. This is one of the reasons why we're built on Substrate. And I will go into detail about our build on Substrate and what the architecture looks like. And we are enterprise grade, and enterprise grade could mean a couple of different things at this point, but I'll go into what that means and how we view that. So the argument for layer 2 scaling solutions, firstly, there was a demand, like I spoke about. Back then, there was a demand. Everybody wanted to build on Ethereum, and it became extremely clear that there was a cap. So you had 7 to 10 transactions you could do on Ethereum per second, and there was a cap on how many transactions you could do on Ethereum, and there was a demand for the smart contract ability for putting transactions on Ethereum mainnet. So then the issue was scalability with Ethereum. And then in recent times, you can see we have an issue of transaction fees where you have Ethereum transaction fees going up in the hundreds of dollars, on rare occasions, even in the millions. So then there were firstly like layer 1 scaling solutions, which are just the main blockchains trying to scale up at a certain level. So you have like a Bitcoin coming out with the Lightning Network trying to scale on that side. You have other variant options coming out over there. You have horizontal scaling solutions like sidechains that were very known. You have vertical scaling solutions as well. You had payment channels that came out, and you had some other enterprise grade private blockchains that were trying to provide scalability on that front. However, we built on Substrate, and what the design decision here was to provide a blockchain, an ecosystem where people are able to build on a blockchain that also inherits from the security of Ethereum. So you had people who wanted to build it on blockchain, but they didn't want to necessarily build on something that you can provide blockchain in a blockchain infrastructure, like you would find with many layer 2 networks. They can provide a blockchain structure. However, they are still secured by the Ethereum ecosystem, but they can provide that blockchain structure. So it was more being a bridge, meeting them in the middle of saying, okay, we can provide everything layer 2s we provide you with, which is cheaper transaction, faster throughput on that front, and still be able to provide you with that blockchain infrastructure there. So we're built on Substrate, and Substrate provides us with a modular architecture, which is one of the very interesting things for us there. Being able to customize the blockchain as time goes by, being able to introduce upgrades to the blockchain without having forks. So it's more of a no fork runtime in their Substrate build. And being built on Substrate also allows us faster and smoother integration with the Polkadot ecosystem as well. And this is another reason why we call ourselves a layer 2 and that supports us, because now that we can provide these layer 2 scaling solutions, and in the way that we do them, we can then plug into the Polkadot ecosystem and allow those who would like to benefit from normal layer 2 scaling solutions and to also benefit from the Polkadot ecosystem as well. So they're not just having faster transactions and cheaper transactions, they're also able to move the assets to the Polkadot ecosystem and move them backwards as well. Also to move them to Ethereum and move them out of Ethereum as well. So for us, we have very different palettes, and I'll go into those. We have, where did it go? We have a palette here. We have the NFT Manager palette, we have a token manager palette, and we have a validators manager palette. The first palette here is what we designed to handle all our NFT operations on the Aventus network. Now, because of the issue that we have with smart contracts, simply being that the logic of the smart contract could be a point of failure for the contract, for the NFT itself, the deployment of a contract also has a huge say on what the transaction fee would be. So on the minting process of the NFT, we decided then to take what NFTs are, the functionalities we expect of NFTs, and just bake that directly into the Aventus blockchain. So NFTs are now native to the chain. You don't need a smart contract to deploy an NFT on the Aventus blockchain. You can just deploy an NFT via API with no smart contract required, and the blockchain would understand this. It would be able to still verify and transact with the royalties there and all the other features that we've come to know about NFTs. We have a token manager palette, which handles tokens on the Aventus network. So people lifting their tokens from Ethereum to Aventus network, their ERC20 tokens, ERC777 tokens, and they're able to use their tokens on the Aventus network, transact their tokens, benefiting from the low transaction fees and the transaction throughput of the network. We have a validators manager palette that handles how validators are registered, deregistered, and slashed on the Aventus network. We have the AVN. This palette provides functionality that is common in other AVN palettes, but mostly for handling how the off-chain worker validates, helping the off-chain worker with the code to validate, provide signatures from the validators outside of the network. You also have a finality tracker that is responsible for more consensus-related activities and providing finality on the network. And you have the AVN offense tracker. Like I said, it handles the slashing for the validators there. So we have currently 10 validators on the Aventus network. And of these validators, you can see here, some of them are full, some are not. But this is where people come and they stake their AVT on a particular validator in the hopes of earning rewards from the transactions that the validators do validate. So you can find that on staking.aventus.io. You can go to the website and see that you can log in with your MetaMask and you can stake on any of our validators. We also have this set of pallets, and this set of pallets handle Ethereum interaction on the Aventus network. So the pallets I spoke about before are more native to the Aventus blockchain, but here we have Ethereum events, Ethereum transactions, and here again you have NFT-Manager. So the first two handle Ethereum related transactions. So transactions that happen on Ethereum that are supposed to provide security for the Aventus network. We get the events, we are able to send transactions between from Aventus to Ethereum as well and have the transaction being verified on both sides. We also have the NFT Manager palette here, and this palette was specifically designed to not just support NFTs on the Aventus network, but to also support migrating NFTs from Aventus to Ethereum and vice versa. So we're able to migrate NFTs, companies who build on Aventus are not locked in. They're able to migrate the NFTs from Aventus to Ethereum and vice versa. Here for the architecture, we have 4 smart contracts on Ethereum. We have a storage, treasury, validators, and scaling manager. Validators, like you would imagine, handles all things validation. Then you have a treasury that handles the tokens that are being locked on our layer 1. You have a scaling manager that handles all things scaling in that sense, if you're lifting and lowering. And then you also have storage. And what storage does is it handles verification of the layer 2 transactions on the Aventus network. So we have, every so often, we take all the transactions that have happened in every period and we get a root hash of those transactions, and we take that root hash and we put it on layer 1 smart contracts on Ethereum. And this storage smart contract is what handles that, verifies that the validators, a certain number of validators have verified that a certain set of transactions have happened. So this is an example of how you would lift and lower tokens. Say, for example, you created a few tokens on Ethereum with your ERC20 smart contract. You would then lift these tokens to the Aventus network. This is the procedure. So here we have a lady called Alice, and she's lifting 100 WIP. WIP is the token symbol that she's chosen to call it. She's lifting 100 WIP, and she sends this to one of our smart contracts. And then that smart contract receives that transaction, locks those tokens up, and then releases an event. Using the Ethereum events palette, one of the validator nodes would pick this up, would verify the transaction as valid by using the Ethereum transactions palette, verify that the transaction is valid, and then pass this message on to the rest of the validators in the Aventus validator, all 10 of them. Now that this transaction has been verified and validated, all tokens are now available for Alice to use on the Aventus network and to benefit from the scalability and the transaction fee and the transaction speed. The similar process can now happen as well when we're talking about lowering. So she can decide to lower these tokens from the Aventus network to the Ethereum network, and she would follow a similar process. So just initiating the transaction on the Aventus network, sending the token from the Aventus network to the Ethereum network. And then she's able to go to Ethereum, one of the smart contracts on Ethereum, and then unlock this token and have it back there on Ethereum. So this is the similar process that we follow for our migration of NFTs. Here we have our AVN Gateway API. We have an API that is not functional, it's working, it's actually in use by companies that are partnered with us. And this on the right here is an example of what transferring a token would be like. So when you have lifted your token to the Aventus network, on the right there is a short script of how you would transact with this token, sending this token from one account to another account and having that verified on the Aventus network. Now, our API can do other things such as NFTs as well, handling NFT migration, handling NFTs transaction as well. Now, talking about a few companies that have built on the Aventus infrastructure and Aventus blockchain and are benefiting from the scalability and transaction fees that we bring to the network. You have a few companies here because we have been working in different sectors. We've worked in financial assets, rewards, live entertainment, supply chain. We're also in gaming as well with a huge gaming client, Fruit Lab, bringing over 600,000 users to the Aventus network, further increasing us in number of users on our network to be in the millions in that sense. So now I will hand over to my colleague Kam, who can also tell you about VereNFT, another platform that has built on the Aventus infrastructure.
So Vera NFT, my name is Kam Mullan, Head of Operations and Services. Thank you for the introduction, Connor. So who are Vera NFT? We're basically a multidisciplinary team that are passionate about anything that's NFTs. And so we've created and developed a white labeled marketplace that allows brands to create and sell NFTs easily. We call it the 4 easy steps. Create your digital asset, turn it into an NFT, sell through your very own branded marketplace to your brand's look and feel and guidelines, and then invite your fans, customers to take part in the sale. So why choose us and what are the benefits of using Vera NFT? So these are just some that we've just listed here. When you're creating an NFT and placing it onto the blockchain, there are minimum guaranteed price or there's no sale, and you can set that yourself. It's faster and cheaper. That's one of the advantages of being powered by the Aventus Layer 2 technology that Emmanuel has just mentioned, which makes it much more faster and low transaction fees. Maximize your digital revenue. Choose your preferred payment gateway. The marketplace allows you to choose between crypto and fiat payments. You own the data. Many marketplaces, you don't own the data. Here, you have full control with what you've created and what you own. And finally, what I've just mentioned is just creating a white label luxury market positioning. I mean, we've got so many marketplaces out there. We know the whole sort of idea is very new. And then you want certain brands, or certain brands just want a marketplace where they can sort of bring their fans who can trust or make them trust or make them feel comfortable rather to sort of buy and purchase their NFT. So we allow that sort of white labeling to their look and feel and style. One of our first clients, we went live in this year in September. It's an American company called Caparity. They sort of promote female athletes, and they've been dropping NFTs since October, and they're planning to drop some more in this month. So that's our first client, and we've got more clients on the pipeline. And what I wanted to do today is take the opportunity to give you a slight demo of the marketplace that we have. So let me just switch screens. So this is the demo page here, and the client wanted a very clean and minimalistic sort of type of look and feel. So once the user logs in, you are presented at this, or you're brought to this landing page. Any user can sort of go through and view all the different type of NFTs. You can use the filters above to choose or filter down to the specific type of NFT that you like. The filters can be designed to tailor the various types of verticals. So this is sports, so you can see sport collection, the type of athlete, the artist that was involved with the athletes' digital artwork. So if you were music, it would be different, genre, name, etc., stuff like that. So how do you create an NFT? It's quite simple. You just click on Mint New NFT. And what we've done here, we've tried to make the process very simple and taken away the all sort of complexity. And so you just give your NFT a name, fill in the fields. So here, the sport, the collection, the athlete, and the artist. This actually sort of links to the actual filter that I showed you on the landing page. And this can be customizable. You give your NFT a description, and then you upload four files. They can vary from MP4, WebM, GIF, or GIF, JPEG. And once you've uploaded those files, you click on create, and in between 4 to 5 minutes, you will have your first created NFT, and that will bring you directly to this page, and you'll see straight away that it's given a unique NFT ID. And at this point, you have the choice to auction or sell your NFT. Here, this client, when we were setting this up, they just wanted to go ahead with just fiat. They're planning to do cryptocurrency, or Ethereum rather, from January. But if you wanted both, you could. And to sort of set your auction up, it's quite simple. You just click on the USD, give it a minimum bid. I mean, you can set this yourself. That this is what we were talking about, or what I was mentioning, that you have control over that. You give it an end date of when you want the auction to end, and of course, give the time as well. Once you've done that, you click on list for auction. And again, that takes about a couple of minutes to sort of register. And once that's happened, you have a choice to then copy the link and share it with your fans, your community, and who can basically just log into this tool and then start bidding on the NFTs. The actual history of the NFTs will then be shown on the left-hand side. You'll see the bids increasing, the users that are sort of bidding against or bidding for the NFT. And once the auction ends, of course, the highest bidder will then own the NFT. So I'll give you an example of one that was closed. That's the one. It's Elena. That's the one. So here, just an example here now. You can see the owner. We have the owner address, and obviously the history of the purchase, and the date, the time, and and how much it was sold for. So that's pretty much our NFT white label marketplace. This is just an example of an athlete or sports centric sort of tool here. We're currently working for 4 more clients, and we're doing some mock-ups for those. So I'll quickly share those with you. So these are just some mock-ups from designs for our next clients that we have in the pipeline. Here is an example of a design that we've done for one of our automobile clients. Here's one for music. Here's another one for art. So the whole idea here, what I'm trying to sort of explain is that one of the advantages is being able to sort of white label your marketplace, where you can create and sell your NFTs. They can be designed to a client's specific brand guidelines and sort of aligns with their sort of message. So when they want to invite the customers or their fans, they have the confidence to sort of come in and use the tool as they like. So that's the Vera NFT marketplace from me. Back to you, Connor. Thank you.
Awesome. So did anyone have any questions that they wanted to ask? Mike Kay here from BTIG. Very briefly, we're an investment bank and I focus on digital assets. That was one of the most fascinating presentations I've seen in a long time, and I definitely want to hear more about the product. I guess one question I had for you is, where do you see risks around what you're doing, and particularly within that competitive risks? And what do you see as the biggest technological problem that you face? And you mentioned a few, but what's the sort of key issue that we're still facing in the industry to allow this to really take off? Thank you.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for the question. When you say this, are you referring to NFTs? Yeah, okay. What's preventing NFTs from taking off is, I believe, not a full understanding of the usefulness of NFTs. We have NFTs in the main media, especially for arts, possibly for music. It's coming up now with Ed Sheeran just using NFTs to secure his ticket and sales. Yeah, so that's coming up. That's one person that's doing that. And it's great to see a mainstream artist picking up NFTs and seeing the value.
There's actually another one. There's a lady called Alison Wonderland, who's in Australia. You may have heard of her. She headlined at Lollapalooza. She created an NFT project, made about $3 million in 3 days for the people who are going to the concert in Decentraland. And it's a fantastic project. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for us. We are seeing that a lot of people don't understand the real value of NFT, especially when it comes to authentication. We're seeing what Twitter is saying, and we like what Twitter is saying. So I think that's really where the main difficulty is. If we can educate people enough to see that NFTs are not just for art, but you can use them for things you traditionally would have gone for someone else to, it could really expand and explode what NFTs are used for.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. It was great. I have a couple of questions actually out of curiosity about Polkadot ecosystem Substrate. In terms of, so you talked about Ethereum compatibility and obviously also being a layer 2. Do you want to expand a little bit more? One, on the Ethereum compatibility, like are you actually compatible in terms of the account model of Ethereum and Substrate, or just the smart contract support, and what sort of challenges you've faced when you've done that?
Okay, what's the second question?
So the second question is Substrate itself as an ecosystem. How much, when you talked about finality tracker, all of these things, are these sort of built in out of the box part of the blockchain of the Substrate, or something that actually you have to build your own ballot or customize the ballot so much so that it actually works the way you want it to see it working? Hi,
Mohammed. Great questions. Thank you. So I will start with the second one because we can go straight on that one. The great thing about Substrate is it allows for modular architecture. And what they've been able to offer us is pre-designed palettes. So they've created a few palettes that are useful for finality tracking, useful for balancing, useful for governance, and they've created these palettes which are amazing, and we're happy about that. And they've pushed into the community saying, create more palettes so that they're not just all the palettes that are being offered are not just from Polkadot or from Substrate, which is also great. So they want community involvement. Now, the thing with us is at Aventus is we're very happy to receive this, and we are part of the Substrate Builders Program. Just to note that we are happy with this. And what we've seen here is we're able to take the palettes that Substrate has provided, that the community has provided, and strip off some things away that don't fit the design that we're looking for, and build on that. So we've definitely taken some things that Substrate have built, and we appreciate what they've built. But we've also built a majority of our palettes are actually built by our in-house developers with a vision that Aventus has in mind, because we're not just trying to be a standalone blockchain that just sits in an isolated ecosystem. We're trying to be interoperable. We're trying to also talk to other blockchains as well, which means that a lot of our services, as we grow, will have to change and customize. So our palettes are always evolving in this stage. Like I spoke about our NFT-Manager palette, that's something that we just deployed in the last 3 months. So providing, and the way in which we approach our NFTs on the actual network is different from how a lot of blockchains are doing it. They do with a smart contract by building on Ethereum. by building on EVM, we're able to bake our NFTs directly into the Aventus architecture. So you're talking about an actual NFT. So when you own an NFT on the Aventus network, you own an NFT that is native to the actual chain. So in essence, our pallets are customized, all of them. Now, to the Ethereum interoperability, it comes down to being able to interact with the Ethereum blockchain and being able to send tokens, send assets in formats that are acceptable by the Ethereum blockchain. And an example of this would be our NFTs. Now, because we are not using smart contracts, there is then the initial thought that our NFTs are not compatible with Ethereum NFTs, because for NFTs on Ethereum, you need smart contracts. So what we're then able to do is to say, okay, how do we approach this? And how we approach this is by making sure that when an NFT is created on the Aventus blockchain, the Ethereum smart contracts are aware of this. So they receive a code to know an NFT has been created. However, the contract on Ethereum does not yet exist. If a user, one of the users of one of the companies that we're partnered with has decided to migrate the NFTs to Ethereum and is willing to pay the Ethereum transaction fee for this, then it comes down to moving these assets to Ethereum. And you don't want to move an asset, you don't want to move NFTs across chain if you miss the metadata. So this is also one of the things, putting the metadata in, making sure that there is an ERC 721 or 1155, depending on what type of NFT they created on Aventus blockchain. Essentially, Aventus blockchain pallets are designed to translate Aventus assets into a format that Ethereum understands. And this is how we maintain that interoperability on that front.
Okay, thanks, Emmanuel. I definitely want to learn more, but I'll leave the next question to Tim. I see he wants to ask a question, but thank you very much.
With sharding post ETH 2.0 and the risks or the concerns around interoperability between the shards, is that something that you feel is a concern, and what's your perspective on it?
Okay, great question. I don't feel it's a concern. Interoperability between the shards would actually leave that to Ethereum guys to figure out how they want to handle the interoperability between their various shards, and they'll come up with a solution, and then we'll see how that solution best works for us. In terms of ETH 2.0 coming out, we're actually we're happy about it. We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it because while the Aventus network does provide 2,000 transactions per second, we're limited on the amount of transactions we're able to send back and forth between Aventus and Ethereum. So once they're able to scale more and increase their TPS, we're able to offer better to the companies that work with us. So that's something that we're looking forward to. We're looking forward to a day when we're able to migrate assets on the Aventus network and Ethereum as quickly as we can do it on the Aventus blockchain itself.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel and Kam, for your presentation there. It was great to learn more about how the two projects are working together, especially with respect to NFTs.